Good day everyone! Isang mapagpalang araw sa ating lahat at welcome to my math class. For today's tutorial, ang ating topic is about the application of sequences. Okay, so for our learning objectives, after going through this lesson, you're expected to solve problems involving sequences. So, kung handa na kayo, pwede na natin siya simulan. So, again, paalala that the concepts of arithmetic and geometric sequence are very essential in real-life situations. Do you know that there are real-life situations that can be modeled by arithmetic and geometric sequence? And this lesson will help you find solutions to solve problems involving sequences. Okay, for our first example, illustrative example, suppose the auditorium of the Tagaytay International Convention Center or the TICC has 20 seats in the first row and that each row has 2 more seats than the previous row. If there are 30 rows in the auditorium, how many seats are in the last row? So, that will be our first problem. So, in this case, to solve real-life problems involving sequences, remember the words C. Okay, so take note of the following words. So, be our guide as we continue our computation mamaya. So, C, and then we need to plan. The third word is do, and the last is look back. Okay, so kailan ba natin gagamitin yung mga yan para tayo matutulungan yan sa pag-solve ng ating mga real-life problems? So, continue lang ang panonood at simulan na natin to. Okay, yung first word natin is to see. So, here, our question is, what kind of sequence is involved in the problem? Napakahalaga nito na kailangan alam ninyo kung anong klaseng sequence yung involved doon sa ating real-life problem. So, if you're going to check the problem kanina, sinasabi dito, we're talking about the number of seats per row and the total number of rows sa ating auditorium. So, if you're going to check here, stated here that meron tayong 20 seats sa unang row ng auditorium. And then, so that would be 20. And then, each row has 2 more seats than the previous row. Ibig sabihin, from the previous row, meron siyang more than 2, no? Has 2 more seats than the previous row. Ibig sabihin, mas marami ng dalawa mula doon sa previous row. So, kung isusulat natin siya sa ating sequence, kung ang first row mo ay 20, therefore, yung second row mo, most probably, is 22. Bakit? Kasi mag-add ka nga ng 2 from the previous row. Okay, and then yung third row mo is 24. And then yung fourth row mo, 26. So on and so forth hanggang makarating ka doon sa last row is yung pang 30th row natin. Okay, so ganun mo siya i-analyze. So in that note, pwede nating sabihin that this is an example of an arithmetic sequence with a common difference of 2. So by checking, so again meron tayo dung if you still remember yung formula natin for the common difference is that yung the second term minus the first term. So if you're going to use this sequence, it's 22, okay, minus 20, so that is equal to 2. Okay, and then if you have 24 and then subtract it to 22, still the difference is 2. Okay, so we can now say that the common difference is 2, and this is an example of an arithmetic sequence. Okay, next word is plan. So magpaplano na tayo. So paano ba nagpaplano sa pagsosolve ng problem? So mahalaga na malaman natin ang appropriate formula. Appropriate, hindi lang basta formula. Kailangan yung formula na gagamitin natin ay akma doon sa kinakailangan sa ating problem. And then, you need to identify correctly the needed values. Mahalaga na makuha natin yung mga tamang values ng ating variables na kompleto doon sa ating formula. Okay, so here, if you still remember, ito yung ating general formula for the arithmetic sequence. A sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus the quantity n minus 1 times d. So here, by Ayan. So, by terms natin dito, so again, ang first term natin is 20. Siya yung number of seats sa first row. And then, common difference natin is 2 because stated here that each row has 2 more seats than the previous row. And then, our N is 30. So, because we have a total of 30 rows in the auditorium, and then we're asked to find the number of seats doon sa last row. Okay? And then do. We need to perform now the indicated operation, and then we simplify our solution. Okay? So, using the formula, substitute lang natin isa-isa to. Okay? So, our a sub n is now a sub 30. Kasi na-state na natin kanina that the value of n is 30. And then, our first term is 20. And then, the value of n is 30. So, we have a constant here, minus 1 times the common difference, which is 2. Okay, next, compute natin. Operations inside the parentheses, 30 minus 1 is 29. Okay, and then, proceed lang tayo sa next equation natin. 20 plus, so we need to get the product between 29 and 2. So that is 58. And lastly, 20 plus 58 is 78. Therefore, the value of our a sub 30 is equal to 78. Okay? And then last is to look back. So here, commonly, usually pwede natin sabihin ito yung checking, no? So ito yung way natin just to verify, no, if answers satisfy ba natin yung given information in the problem. So here, ayan. So if you're going to enumerate or list down all the number of seats per row, ito yung lalabas. Ayan. So we have here 20 as the first row, so it has 20 seats. Next, followed by 22 seats sa second row, 24 seats sa third row, 26 seats sa fourth row, and then so on and so forth, hanggang makarating ka sa last row, yung pang 30th row, which is 78. Okay, so ngayon, we can now say that on the 30th row, no, meron siyang total of 78 seats doon sa ating last row. Ayan. So, ano kagandahan ng may formula? In-skip natin tong part na to. No? Ayan. Hindi na natin yan kinuha lahat. No? What we need now is ito lang. Ito lang naman ang kinailangan natin. Yung first 3 or first 4 of the sequence para lang makuha natin yung common difference niya. And then, makukuha na natin kung ano yung hinahanap dun sa problem. And then, as you can see kanina, directly nag-jump tayo agad sa 78 kasi yun lang naman yung hinahanap natin. So, yun yung kagandahan kapag gumagamit tayo ng formula. Mas mabilis natin nakukuha yung sagot, but still, kung ginanito nyo siya, wala nang problema. Tama naman yan. Enumerate nyo isa-isa. Yun nga lang, medyo tasky yan at kakain ng mas mahabang oras. No? So, again, our final answer is 78 sa yung total number of seats sa last row. Okay, so we're done. So let's proceed to example. Next example tayo. Suppose in illustrative example number 1, you're asked to find the total number of seats. How will you do it? Ayan. So, gagamitin natin yung example number 1, yung given niya, yung problem niya. But papalitan natin yung tanong, yung hinahanap. This time, hinahanap yung total number of seats. Ibig sabihin, yung kabuang bilang ng seats sa loob ng auditorium. So, yun ngayon yung hinahanap natin. Hindi katulad kanina, na ang hinahanap lang natin is yung number of seats dun sa last row. So, dito, lahat, as in, total number of seats sa loob ng auditorium. So, instead of adding the number of seats per row, you must use the formula. So, mas madali kasi at mas mabilis kapag may mga formulas tayo na ginagamit at guided tayo nun. So, mas mabilis yung ating pagko-compute. Okay, so in our formula, so as you can see here, to find the total number of seats, no, in solving for the arithmetic series, ayan, also known as the arithmetic series or the sum of the given terms, we have here two formulas. Okay, so we have here the first formula and then the second formula. And then here are the variables natin. So, familiar na naman kayo dito. N is the number of terms. A sub 1 is the first term. A sub n is the last term. And then, the D is the common difference. Okay? So, let's solve the problem. So, given in the problem, we have, if you still remember, in our problem that our first term is 20. This will be the number of seats in the first row. Our n is 30. That will be the total number of rows in the auditorium. And D is equal to 2. This is our common difference. Okay, now for our first solution, so we're going to use this formula. Okay. Now, first step is to substitute the values. So, again, stated there that n is 30, ayan, over 2. And then we have here 2 times 20 is our first term. 30 is the number of rows. Okay, total number of rows in the auditorium. We have a total of 30. And then our common difference is 2. Okay, so let's perform the operation. 30 divided by 2 is 15. And then 2 times 20 is 40. 1330 minus 1 is 29 times 2. Next is 15 times 40 plus, so the product between 29 and 2, that is 58. And then 15 times 40 plus 58 is 98. Therefore, the product is 1,470. This will be now the total number of seats doon sa loob ng auditorium. See? So, ganoon lang siya kabilis. Nakapag-sum up na agad tayo ng total number of seats doon sa auditorium without listing all the number of seats per row. So, ang kinailangan lang natin is yung value ng n, yung first term, and then yung ating common difference. And then we just perform the operation so andun sa ating formula. So, we come up with this. The final answer is 1,470 seats. Okay? Now, sir, ba't tayo meron solution number 2? Kasi meron tayong second formula, so pwede rin natin itong gamitin. But as you can see, sir, bakit ba ito naging mas maikli kumpara mo doon sa naunang haba-haba? So, bakit ba naging ganito kaikli itong second formula natin? It's because meron siya nito. Ayan. Ayan, yung A sub n. Kasi kapag ginamit mo itong formula na to, kailangan meron kang last term. So, yun yung condition niya. Okay? So, medyo may consideration ito at kaya hindi siya basta-basta nagagamit unless masatisfy mo yung condition na dapat meron ka doon sa problem para magamit mo itong formula na to. So, kailangan may last term. Pero kung titingnan nyo dito sa ating problem, wala naman dito, hindi naman sinabi yung rows, number of seats dun sa last row. Pero kung matatandaan nyo kanina sa ating first example, na-compute kasi natin yan. So, kung confident kayo na tama naman yun at sigurado kayo doon na pag kinumpute mo yung last term is sure ka na tama siya, so pwede mo tong gamitin. Kasi ang requirement dito, dapat meron kang first term, okay, and then meron kang last term. Okay? Now, so if we have those values, so pwede na tayo mag-substitute. So, balik lang natin to. So, pwede na tayo mag-substitute ng values. Ayan. So, here, kaya siya simple. Kasi ito naman ang kailangan mo. Again, given the value of n is 30 divided by 2 times 20 is the first term plus the last term is 78. Na-identify natin kanina na yung last row ay merong total of 78 seats. Yun kasi yung hinahanap natin. At yun yung naging value na a sub n natin kanina. Okay, and that, so we get the quotient between 30 and 2, that is 15, and then 20 plus 78 is 98. And then you get the product, the answer still the same, 1,470 seats. See, we use different formulas, two different formulas, pero nag-come up tayo sa para sa sagot. Okay? Kasi tama yung ating process na ginawa at tama yung mga values na ginamit natin dun sa ating formula. So, Depende yan sa assessment ninyo doon sa problem. Kung sa tingin ninyo, magagamit nyo itong second formula kasi nga mas maikli siya at mas mabilis siya, go. Kasi yun naman ang goal natin. Mas mapabilis natin yung pag-solve natin ng mga problems. Pero kung hindi pa kayo confident dito, pwede kayo bumalik dun sa unang solution kasi lahat ng mga problems sa arithmetic sequence, especially sa sum, ay kayang-kayang isolve ng ating first formula. Okay? So, sana naintindihan niyo yan at may natutunan kayo sa part na yan. Okay, so, continue tayo. Our next example, find the sum of the sequence 2, 6, 18, 54 up to a sub 5. So, hinahanap yung sum ng sequence ng terms natin in this sequence. Ayan. So, pag i-add natin lahat yan, ano ba ang magiging sum? Pero first is, kailangan natin malaman anong klaseng sequence. So, this is an example of a geometric sequence with a common ratio 3. Sir, paano mo nalaman na ang common ratio niya is 3? So, if you're going to check, okay, observe lang natin yung numbers natin dito sa sequence. We have here 2, followed by 6, tapos 18, and then 54. Titingnan natin, pag chinek mo by, if you want to check, well, baka arithmetic yan. So, pag arithmetic sequence, we get the common difference, try natin. So, second term 6 minus the first term 2. So, the difference is 4. Let's say another one, 18. Ma-minus natin sa 6, that is 12. As you can see, magkaiba na agad yung ating difference. Therefore, wala siyang common difference. It means that hindi siya arithmetic sequence. Now, sinabi natin na geometric sequence siya. So, prove natin na geometric yan. Okay, so same terms na gagamitin, 6. But this time, i-divide natin siya sa 2. So, the quotient is 3. And then, how about 18? I-divide natin siya sa 6. So, the answer is still 3. So, as you can see here, parehas ang sagot natin na 3. So, we can now say that it has a common ratio of 3. Kaya natin nasabi na itong problem na to, itong sequence na to, is an example of a geometric sequence. Okay? Okay, next. Solve na natin yung sum of the geometric sequence. So, we have here the formula. S sub n is equal to a sub 1 times the quantity 1 minus r raised to n. So, again, yung n natin is an exponent all over 1 minus r. So, where S sub n is the sum, ayan. So, obviously naman, kasi para di na malito, no, ang gagamitin natin is letter S for the sum. And then, as usual, yung A sub 1 natin is the first term, n is the number of terms, and then r is the constant ratio or the common ratio. Okay, for our solution, so using the formula, we just substitute the values. So, we have now here, balik natin. Okay, so you have 2. Substitute natin yung mga values kanina. First term natin is 2 times 1 minus the common ratio is 3. Nasolve natin yung kanina. And then, n is 5. Sir, bakit 5? Kasi hinahanap natin yung sum ng first 5 terms. Kaya ang n natin is 5. All over 1 minus the ratio 3. And then, perform natin yung operation sa loob ng parentheses. So, we have here an exponential form. So, we need to first get the value of 3 raised to 5. So, what is 3 raised to 5 or to the 5th power? So, it's like 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So, we have here, our product is 243. Okay? Ayan. So, kaya siya nandito. 243. And then, all over 1 minus 3. Next is, you get the difference. So, 1 minus 243 is negative 242. All over 1 minus 3 is negative 2. And then, perform the operation, simplification. So, you get the product of this. So, the final answer is 242. Okay, sir, parang naging positive yun, negative ito. So, kaya expand natin yan, ganito siya class. If you're going to get the product of between these two numbers, so 2 times negative 242, that is negative 484. I-divide mo siya sa negative 2. And again, kapag nag-divide tayo ng integers and then negative yan, negative divided by negative is positive. And then 484 divided by 2 is 242. That's it. So, yun yung sum ng ating first 5 terms of the given sequence. Ayan. So, ganun lang siya kadali. So, by checking, ayan. So, pwedeng gawin mo dyan is kumpletuhin mo yung terms. Ayan. So, kunin mo yung first 5 terms and simply add mo lang siya. That is 242. So, sir, pwede ba yun? Yes, kasi na-accept naman natin yung long addition. Or, syempre, best pa rin yung may formula. Bakit? Kasi mas mapapabilis niya yung trabaho at kaya niyang mag-solve ng mas mahaba. So, sa problem na to, parang okay lang long addition eh. Kasi first 5 terms lang. Pero what if tinanong yung first 20 terms, first 30 terms. So, medyo marami na yon. So, kapag nag-long addition ka doon, talagang haba yung computation mo. Whereas kapag kinumpare mo siya sa pag may formula ka, direct to the point ka, kapag nag-compute ka, direct ka doon sa problem mo, no? Sa goal mo na kunin lang yung sum. No? Hindi mo na kailangan enumerate lahat ng terms. Pag nag-compute ka, diretso, sum na yon. Hindi mo na kailangan pa isa-isahin pa yung mga terms doon sa given sequence. So, yun lang yung magiging disadvantage kapag naglo-long addition tayo. Still, practice lang kayo ha, and then para mas masanay kayo sa paggamit ng mga formulas at para mas mabilis yung ating process ng pagko-compute. So, that's it. So, sana nag-enjoy kayo sa panonood. Don't forget to hit the like button and comment kayo sa ating mga tutorial and subscribe kayo sa aking channel para updated kayo sa mga bago nating tutorial. So muli, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Stay healthy and safe. God bless us all.